Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Welcome to the Healthy Mind channel, and today we will talk about
Every year, strokes change lives in a single minute. And here's the unexpected truth. A few foods with a healthy halo can, in certain amounts or contexts, quietly push your risk in the wrong direction. Today, I'll explain the mechanisms in plain language, give you realistic swaps, and show you how to protect your brain without quitting food you love. Before we start, this video is educational and not medical advice. If you have a medical condition or take medications, talk to your doctor or dietitian before making changes. Fruit juices, the sugar trap in a glass. Fruit is great, but juice is fruit, minus most of the fiber and a big portion of the chewing. That fiber isn't just filler, it slows down how fast sugar hits your blood. Without it, a small glass can deliver the sugar load of multiple oranges or apples in a few gulps. Quick sugar spikes can irritate the lining of your arteries, thicken blood over time through higher triglycerides, and contribute to insulin resistance. All of that adds up to strain on your heart and brain, and over the years it may nudge risk upward. There's also a psychology twist. Juice feels natural and virtuous, so it sneaks into daily habits: a morning glass, a lunchtime bottle, an evening vitamin boost. Add up the portions, and you may be drinking the sugar equivalent of several sodas a week without realizing it. Labels can be misleading too. No added sugar doesn't mean low sugar. It often means all the sugar here came from fruit, which is still a large, rapidly absorbed dose when the fiber is gone. Does that mean orange or apple juice is forbidden forever? No. Dose and context matter. If your overall diet is low in added sugars, you're active and your labs are healthy, an occasional small glass with a high-fiber breakfast is different from a daily 12 to 16-ounce bottle on an empty stomach. But if you have prediabetes, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, high triglycerides, or a family history of cardiovascular disease, treating juice like a dessert, not a hydration strategy, is a smart move. Safer ways to get the benefits without the spike. Prefer whole fruit. You'll feel fuller, get vitamin C and potassium, and the fiber will slow absorption. If you love juice, try a half and half. 50% juice, 50% sparkling water with ice and a slice of citrus. Same flavor vibe, half the sugar. Smoothies can be helpful if built around fiber and protein. Think berries plus spinach plus chia or flax plus Greek yogurt or silken tofu plus water. Avoid all fruit blends or big cups made with juice as the base. Make fruit the dessert, not the drink. A bowl of orange segments after lunch satisfies the sweet craving with far less glycemic punch. What to watch on labels. Serving size. Many bottles hide 2 servings. Total sugar per serving. Aim lower than a dessert. Ingredients. From concentrate and juice blend often mean you're getting a sweeter, more processed product. A quick reality check on green juices. The color can be deceiving. Many green bottles are mostly apple or grape juice with a handful of spinach for marketing. If you truly enjoy vegetable juices, choose ones that are primarily non-starchy veggies: cucumber, celery, leafy greens, herbs, lemon, without a sweet fruit base. Beet juice is a special case. It contains natural nitrates that can support nitric oxide and help vessels relax, but it also comes with a sugar load. Portion control still applies, especially if you're pairing it with other sweet foods or drinking large glasses.
Timing matters as well. Drinking juice on an empty stomach first thing in the morning tends to create sharper spikes than having a small portion with a protein-rich, high-fiber breakfast, say eggs with sautéed greens or overnight oats with chia and walnuts. Protein, fat, and fiber act like speed bumps for sugar. Use them. If you're a parent or caregiver, consider modeling juice as a treat at home. Kids copy what adults do. A house rule like juice on weekends, water during the week protects young arteries and establishes a healthy default that serves them for decades. Recap. The issue isn't vitamins, it's velocity. Juice delivers sugar too fast. Over time, repeated spikes can irritate vessel walls and worsen metabolic risk. The fix is simple: more whole fruit, fewer juice routines, smarter smoothies, mindful portions. A quick litmus test. If juice is a daily habit you need to get through the afternoon, that's a red flag. Swap to water, mineral water, or unsweetened tea most days, and save juice for special occasions. Your arteries will prefer the slow, steady road over the roller coaster. Mini habit for this week. Pick one juice moment you usually have and replace it with a whole fruit plus a glass of water. Track how your energy and cravings respond over 7 days. Many people notice steadier focus and fewer post-lunch crashes, and that's exactly the environment your brain's blood vessels like to live in.
2. Whole grain bread, the sodium surprise. Whole grain sounds like the safest choice in the bakery aisle. More fiber, more micronutrients, steadier energy. All true until salt enters the chat. In commercial baking, salt isn't just about flavor. It strengthens gluten, controls yeast activity, and extends shelf life. The result is that even breads marketed as wholesome can carry a quiet sodium load that adds up slice by slice. Why does this matter for stroke risk? Because blood pressure loves to follow sodium around. When daily intake stays high, many people retain more fluid, the heart has to push harder, and pressure inside the arteries creeps upward. Elevated blood pressure is the top modifiable risk factor for stroke. You might be doing everything right, exercising, eating salads, avoiding obvious junk, yet a few healthy sandwiches per day can keep your numbers stubbornly high. Bread is sneaky for 2 reasons. First, it's a staple. You eat it at breakfast, lunch, and sometimes dinner. Second, it rarely tastes salty, so your brain doesn't flag it like chips or pretzels. 2 slices with avocado at breakfast, 2 more with soup at lunch, a roll at dinner. By bedtime, you may have crossed your ideal sodium range without touching a single fast food meal. Let's walk down the label together. On the back of most loaves, you'll see a serving size of 1 slice. Check the sodium line. Then be honest about portions. Most sandwiches use 2 slices. Toast often means 2. A quick snack becomes a third. Also scan the ingredient list. Words like sourdough starter or sprouted grains look virtuous, but they don't guarantee a low-sodium formula. Some artisanal loaves are actually saltier than the budget brands because salt improves crust and flavor complexity. Now, zoom out to the whole plate. Bread loves salty companions. Cheese, deli turkey, canned tuna, smoked fish, pickles, mustard, soy sauce, and even some plant-based deli slices all bring their own sodium. The combo effect matters. A sandwich can go from modest to high sodium with just 1 extra condiment or processed filling, even when every single component has a healthy label.
So, do you need to give up bread? Not necessarily. You need bread literacy. Here's a practical playbook. Set a sodium target per slice. Look for loaves that keep to a lower range per slice. If your store has a low-sodium bread, try it for 2 weeks. Many people adjust to the gentler flavor quickly. Prefer dense breads. True whole rye, pumpernickel, and some sprouted grain loaves often deliver more fiber per slice, so you feel satisfied with less bread overall. Bake occasionally. A simple home loaf with minimal salt, lots of seeds, and whole grain flour is easier than you think. Even once or twice a month can reset your palate. Alternate with non-bread carriers. Lettuce wraps, roasted sweet potato rounds, oat cakes, whole grain tortillas, or a scoop of bean salad with olive oil and lemon can replace a couple of bread servings each day without feeling like a diet. Engineer the sandwich. Layer potassium-rich foods that support healthy pressure balance. Tomatoes, leafy greens, avocado, beans. Use herbs, citrus, pepper flakes, and a drizzle of good olive oil for flavor instead of salty spreads. A helpful habit is the BP sandwich check. Make the sandwich you usually love, then build a version that trades 1 salty element for a fresh one. Cheese to hummus. Deli meat to roasted chicken breast, pickle to cucumber ribbons with lemon. Taste both. If the lower sodium version still satisfies you after 3 bites, you've just discovered a lifelong upgrade that spares your arteries thousands of sodium-heavy meals. If you take blood pressure readings at home, try a tiny experiment. For 7 days, choose low-sodium bread and fresh fillings. For the next 7 days, return to your usual choices. Keep everything else steady. Many people notice their average readings dip during the low-sodium week. Even a small reduction is meaningful over years. A quick word on gluten-free bread. It's not automatically lower in sodium. In fact, some brands lean on salt to boost flavor and texture. Treat it like any other packaged product. Flip the bag and read the panel. Finally, don't let perfection be the enemy of progress. If sandwiches are your joy, keep them and make them smarter. The goal isn't 0 sodium, it's intentional sodium. When your baseline is thoughtful, the occasional bowl of ramen or a slice of pizza with friends won't break the bank. Recap. Bread is a major source of hidden sodium because it's eaten often and doesn't taste very salty. Higher sodium intake can raise blood pressure, a leading risk factor for stroke. Label awareness, alternate carriers, and potassium-rich fillings let you enjoy bread while protecting your brain. Start small. Swap one salty element today and pick a lower sodium loaf on your next grocery run. Up next in this series, a trendy, healthy fat that can become risky when portions balloon and heat is high. We'll talk about how to keep the benefits and lose the hazards.
3. Vegetable oils when healthy fats turn risky. For years, the nutrition world told us, replace butter with vegetable oils and you'll protect your heart. That advice wasn't totally wrong. Oils like olive or canola can improve cholesterol numbers compared to butter. But here's the catch. Not all vegetable oils are created equal, and how you use them can flip the script from protective to harmful. Let's split it into 2 issues: type of oil and cooking method. Type of oil. Some oils, like soybean, corn, sunflower, and generic vegetable oil blends, are very high in omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-6 isn't bad by itself. We actually need it. The problem is the ratio. When omega-6 intake dwarfs omega-3 intake, the body tends to produce more pro-inflammatory compounds. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the drivers behind arterial damage, plaque formation, and increased clotting risk. Translation: if your diet is packed with fried foods and processed snacks made with these oils, stroke risk climbs. Cooking method. Even the best oil turns ugly under the wrong heat. Every oil has a smoke point, the temperature at which it begins to break down and produce toxic byproducts. When oils are repeatedly overheated, think deep fryers or reusing the same pan oil again and again, they generate compounds like aldehydes and trans fats. These substances directly stress blood vessels, increase oxidative damage, and impair the flexibility of arteries. Over time, that rigidity makes it easier for clots to lodge and cause a stroke. Here's an everyday example. A stir-fry made with fresh vegetables and a splash of olive oil at medium heat? Great. But frozen fry is dunked in a vat of reused corn oil at 375 degrees F, a pro-inflammatory, artery-stiffening bomb. There's also the issue of portion size. Even healthy oils are calorie-dense, 120 calories per tablespoon. Many people pour freely when cooking or dressing salads, unknowingly consuming 4 to 6 tablespoons in a meal. Extra calories, if not balanced, lead to weight gain, higher blood pressure, and metabolic issues, all key stroke risks. So what's the smarter approach? Rotate oils. Olive oil, especially extra virgin, is excellent for low to medium heat cooking and dressings. Avocado oil is stable at higher heats. Canola can be a balanced, budget-friendly option. Coconut oil? Use sparingly, it's high in saturated fat. Respect the smoke point. Keep olive oil below 375 degrees F. Avocado oil up to 500 degrees F. If you see oil smoking, toss it. It's already generating harmful compounds. Don't reuse frying oil. One-time use only. Restaurants often stretch oil for cost savings, which is one reason frequent fried food eaters have higher cardiovascular risks. Measure, don't pour. A tablespoon is less than you think. Use a measuring spoon for a week. You'll retrain your eyes and cut hidden calories. Balance with omega-3s. Fatty fish like salmon, sardines, walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds can help restore a healthier omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. Quick science snapshot. A meta-analysis of over 500,000 participants found that high consumption of industrially fried foods was linked to a 34% higher risk of major cardiovascular events, including stroke. Meanwhile, diets rich in extra virgin olive oil, like the Mediterranean diet, were associated with lower stroke rates. So it's not just oil versus no oil, it's which oil, how hot, and how often. Recap. Not all vegetable oils are equal. Some are pro-inflammatory in excess. Heat transforms oils. Avoid smoking and reusing. Measure portions to prevent hidden calorie overload. Balance with omega-3s and favor extra virgin olive oil for most meals. In other words, fat is not the enemy, but careless oil habits are. Treat oils with respect, right type, right dose, right heat, and they can remain allies for your arteries. Abuse them, and they may quietly raise your risk of the very event you're trying to avoid. Up next, a dairy darling that seems bone-friendly but has a darker side when overused.
4. Yogurt and dairy. Calcium's double-edged sword. When you picture strong bones, you probably imagine a glass of milk or a bowl of creamy yogurt. For decades, dairy has been the go-to symbol of bone health, thanks to its calcium and vitamin D content. And it's true, moderate dairy intake can support skeletal strength and prevent osteoporosis. But here's the hidden twist. Too much of a good thing can backfire. And in the case of dairy, excessive calcium may quietly increase stroke risk. Let's break this down. Calcium and blood vessels. Calcium is crucial for muscles, including your heart muscle. But when calcium levels run too high in the blood, the mineral doesn't just stop at the bones. It can deposit in artery walls, a process known as vascular calcification. Over time, these hardened spots reduce the flexibility of your arteries, making them more prone to rupture or blockage. That stiffness is a major contributor to both heart attacks and strokes. The dairy paradox. Moderate yogurt or milk consumption has been associated in some studies with lower stroke risk, likely because it replaces less healthy foods and provides protein. But very high intakes of dairy, especially full-fat cheese and whole milk, have been linked with higher risks, partly due to saturated fat content and partly due to calcium overload. In one large European study, people who consumed the most dairy calcium had a higher incidence of ischemic stroke compared to those with moderate intake. The sugar trap in healthy yogurt. Many adults swap dessert for fruit on the bottom yogurt cups, thinking it's a smart choice. The problem? These can carry 15 to 25 grams of added sugar each, basically as much as ice cream. Sugar plus dairy fat equals a metabolic storm. Higher triglycerides, higher inflammation, and more stress on blood vessels. The halo of yogurt hides the reality that you may be eating a dessert disguised as health food. Portion size and balance. Calcium recommendations for adults are about 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams per day. A single cup of milk has around 300 milligrams, a cup of yogurt another 300 milligrams, and 2 slices of cheese 400 to 500 milligrams. Add fortified foods or supplements, and you can exceed the recommended range without realizing it. Chronically overshooting can nudge arteries towards calcification.
How to keep the benefits without the risks. Choose plain, unsweetened yogurt and add fresh fruit, nuts, or cinnamon for flavor. Stick to moderate servings. 1 to 2 dairy portions per day are usually safe for most adults. Rotate with non-dairy calcium sources like almonds, sesame seeds, kale, broccoli, or fortified plant milks. These bring extra fiber and phytonutrients that support vascular health. Watch supplements. If your doctor hasn't prescribed calcium pills, think twice before adding them. Studies show food-based calcium is safer for arteries than large supplement doses. Pay attention to fat content. Low-fat or fermented dairy like kefir or Greek yogurt tends to have more consistent benefits compared to processed cheese or heavy cream. Science Snapshot. A 2019 review in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that calcium from supplements, but not from food, was linked with increased cardiovascular disease and stroke risk. This suggests that how you get calcium matters. Food delivers it slowly with other nutrients, while pills can spike levels in the bloodstream and accelerate calcification. Recap. Dairy can support bone health, but excess calcium, especially from supplements or high dairy loads, may stiffen arteries. Sweetened yogurts behave more like desserts than health foods. Balance dairy with plant-based calcium and stick to moderate servings. Fermented, low-sugar options, like Greek yogurt or kefir, are the safest bets. The bottom line? A little yogurt can be a friend to your gut and bones. A lot of sweetened yogurt and cheese every day can quietly become an enemy to your arteries. Like many healthy foods, the difference between medicine and poison is the dose. Up next, our final food, a snack often praised for antioxidants, but capable of tipping the scales toward stroke risk when eaten carelessly.
5. Dark chocolate, when superfood turns into a stroke risk. Dark chocolate is one of those foods that headlines love. Rich in antioxidants, good for the heart. And it's true, pure dark chocolate, especially with a high cocoa percentage, contains flavonoids that can improve blood vessel flexibility and support circulation. In moderation, it can even lower blood pressure. So why is it on this list of healthy foods that can raise stroke risk? Because with chocolate, the dose and disguise matter. Hidden sugar and fat. Even bars marketed as dark often contain significant added sugar. A typical 70% cocoa bar still has about 24 grams of sugar per 100 grams, roughly 6 teaspoons. Eat half a bar while binge-watching Netflix, and you've just loaded your blood with sugar levels comparable to candy. Combine that with cocoa butter, a source of saturated fat, and you've created a cocktail that promotes inflammation, weight gain, and higher cholesterol, all stroke risk factors. Portion creep. Chocolate feels like a small indulgence, so people often underestimate how much they eat. A few squares at lunch, a reward after dinner, plus a chocolate-covered snack in between. Suddenly, you're consuming 300 to 400 extra calories daily. Over time, that surplus contributes to obesity and metabolic syndrome, both tightly linked to stroke. Caffeine and blood pressure. Dark chocolate naturally contains caffeine and theobromine. For sensitive individuals, these compounds can cause temporary blood pressure spikes or irregular heart rhythms. While small amounts may be harmless, large servings, especially in people already dealing with hypertension, add unnecessary strain to the vascular system. Marketing traps. Chocolate-covered nuts, berries, or granola are often promoted as healthy snacks. But many of these products are basically candy with a wellness label. A handful can deliver the sugar load of a candy bar, tricking you into thinking you're making a good choice while silently raising your stroke risk. How to keep chocolate as a friend, not a foe. Stick to small amounts, 1 or 2 squares, 10 to 20 grams, of at least 80 to 85% cocoa. Treat it as a dessert, not a daily vitamin. Pair it with something fiber-rich, like a handful of berries, to blunt the sugar effect. Avoid chocolate-covered snacks. They're usually more sugar than cocoa. If you have high blood pressure, be mindful of how chocolate affects your numbers. Science snapshot. Some studies do show a slight reduction in stroke risk among moderate dark chocolate consumers, but the benefit disappears and reverses when consumption becomes frequent and portions grow. The line between medicine and problem is thinner than most people realize. Science snapshot. Some studies do show a slight reduction in stroke risk among moderate dark chocolate consumers, but the benefit disappears and reverses when consumption becomes frequent and portions grow. The line between medicine and problem is thinner than most people realize. Science snapshot. Some studies do show a slight reduction in stroke risk among moderate dark chocolate consumers, but the benefit disappears and reverses when consumption becomes frequent and portions grow. The line between medicine and problem is thinner than most people realize. Recap. Dark chocolate does have antioxidants, but hidden sugar and fat can cancel them out. Large portions add calories, sugar, and caffeine, all stroke risks. Occasional small servings with high cocoa content are fine. Daily bars are not.
So, what have we learned? The foods most dangerous to your brain aren't the obvious villains like fast food or soda. They're the ones that sneak into your life wearing a healthy disguise. 1. Fruit juices, sugar spikes without fiber. 2. Whole grain bread, sodium overload in a healthy package. 3. Vegetable oils, good in theory, harmful when overheated or overused. 4. Dairy and yogurt. Calcium's benefits flip into artery calcification if intake is excessive, plus the sugar trap of flavored yogurts. 5. Dark chocolate. Antioxidants undone by sugar, fat, and portion creep. The lesson isn't to fear these foods or ban them forever. It's about context, portion, and frequency. A small glass of juice once in a while is fine. A daily habit is not. A sandwich now and then is harmless, but high sodium bread at every meal adds up. Oils, dairy, and chocolate all have redeeming qualities, but only when you keep them in check. If you want to protect your brain and lower your risk of stroke, choose whole, minimally processed foods most of the time. Balance treats with fiber, protein, and healthy fats. Read labels with a critical eye, especially for sodium and sugar. And remember that moderation is more powerful than extremes. Finally, never forget, your brain depends on healthy blood vessels. Every bite you take is either protecting them or slowly eroding them. Make the protective choice most of the time, and your risk of stroke will drop dramatically. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe.